everyone, welcome to this week's video. I apologize already if I sound a bit nasal or hoarse. I got caught by a kind of a nasty cold in the past week. That's why I didn't post anything on the past week as well, even though I wanted to, but I was too busy feeling sorry for myself, I suppose. Fortunately, it was just a cold, so I'm way better now. So I decided to make this video about books. I have lots of books that I really like using to get inspired from, or ideas, and I thought it would be nice to share a few of them with you. Some of them you may know already, some of them may be new to you, but I hope you will like it. And I'll take the chance now also to ask you, if you like the content and you would like to see more, to please give it a thumbs up to the video and subscribe, so it will help me to get a bit more visibility here on YouTube. Excuse me, and grow up the channel and bring more content. So thanks for that. And now I'm gonna share a few of the books I separated here. I have a lot of books on different subjects, so I decided today to talk about artist books, reference books, and just you know, books that are not necessarily how-to books or tutorials or things like that, techniques. I intend on making another video about books of that kind. So today will be only about books for reference or inspiration. So let's start. I'll start with this one. Many of you probably know already this little book here. It's by Helen Birch. She has many other books on series similar to that. She has like a hand-drawn one, botanical art, and I believe maybe ink. So it's like a collective of different artists. And it's very interesting because here you have the technique, the name of the artist. It talks a bit about the artist. And here you have the artwork, which is very pretty. And you have a series of different types of artworks. In this case, using watercolor and gouache. Here you see, here you have traditional watercolor. Botanical. Very pretty. So it's a nice little book to leave it near the desk to get ideas sometimes of things to paint or techniques to use. Let me see here, other thing. I have a look other based media as well, alternatives, using found materials, digital. So yeah, that's a really nice book to get inspired from, to learn about the work of other artists and the techniques they use. Including here, I found there was an artwork from an artist. This I find very, very pretty. Yeah, it's Elena James. I started following her on Instagram after I saw this. She makes these very layered abstract paintings, look a bit like under the sea scenes. And I believe there was also something of Natasha Newton that is pretty popular here on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, So I've been following Natasha for a while now, and I was not even aware she was in this book I have. It's a very beautiful layered landscape with these marks that she uses very often in her work. Very pretty, using natural colors. So yeah, this is a very nice book to give you some ideas and techniques for watercolor or what other oh my goodness, water-based media. Yeah, so that's one. Now I'm gonna share some books that I would call it for reference. They are not necessarily art books, but they are books that they are useful to get ideas of subjects to paint. So the first one, I got this not long ago. It's a plant book. It has many illustrations of flowers, and I found that the illustrations were very, very nice. I got inspired by them to do my own. I haven't done anything yet based on these books, but I found interesting because you have here the name of the flower, information if you want to plant it, and then you have the illustration. You have different flowers here. I thought it was a very neat little book, and I really like also the look of this very delicate watercolor painted flowers against the dark background. Is something that I don't do often, to use dark backgrounds, but it really gives it a pop. Like the contrast is very nice. So we have different flowers here with the info. So I thought it was a neat little book for inspiration on flowers, and has beautiful illustrations. Let me check again here if who is the artist. Here, Olga Lishkova. Plants for free. So yeah, nice little book, good for reference. What else? Excuse me, my voice is really not the best today, but I'm doing my best to share with you some of these. So this is another book I got from DK. This was a gift, actually. I really like painting birds and drawing birds. Birds and fishes are just my favorite things to draw and paint. So that's a nice little guide. It's very, it's a pocket guide actually, so you can carry it with you easily on the bag. And it has many different images of different birds. We have this here near the house on the canal, the moorhen. I've seen them many times with their babies as well. So yeah, it's really nice. There's the information, there are the photos. And this one I've used for paint. I've made a few mini paintings of birds using this book as reference. I'm not gonna share it now because I want to finish my mini sketchbook before I can share that, but I painted already a good few of them based on these images. It's very nice. These DK guides, they have different ones. I've seen it for stones, for trees, for flowers, for insects. So whatever you fancy, they probably have it, And they're not expensive and have loads of images you can use as reference. This is for birds, so very neat. Another one that I use for reference is this one, The Wildflowers of Ireland. I live in Ireland, so I got this one specifically because I also like photographing flowers and observing flowers. But I love the photos as well. There are many different pictures, so some close-ups. There's the information. It's divided by color as well, so you can see here purple, then here you go red. I think I painted something from that. Give me a minute. I'm back. So I have this sketchbook here that I use for colored pencil work, and yes, indeed, I have used it. You can see here I did this colored pencil drawing sketch, and it was using this book as a reference. Where is it? Here. So yeah, you can see here. So as I said, it's pretty full of pictures you can use as reference. There's a lot of information as well if you like observing flowers and identify them. I'm sure that they have also for other regions. I mean, maybe not this editor, but for sure there will be a book similar to that for your region if you are interested in the local flora. So yeah, this is a really good source of photos. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I take pictures also while I'm walking in people's gardens, or every time a flower catches my eye, I just take a photo. So I can work also from my own reference photos, but sometimes I just, I don't know, out of ideas or something like that. So I like to just browse in this book here and take some ideas of things to draw or to paint. Another reference book that I have, this is new, I got it this week, is this baby here, and I'm very excited about it because it's really a beautiful book. It's also DK, Smithsonian Handbooks, and this is dedicated to butterflies and moths. So you have here the illustrations of the moths, the information where it's found, the family, the characteristics, the names. I don't know about you, but in my case, since I was a kid, I always loved this type of encyclopedia books with photos and images of insects and things like that. So already just reading through it and looking, I like it. But I think it's just a great source of images to paint from. You know, you don't necessarily need to paint exactly what you see here in these pictures, but you can use it as an inspiration, you know, for the markings and everything, and you can use the colors that you want. That's the thing with painting, you know, the sky is the limit. So I really like this book. I've painted some butterflies this year. I put it in a frame. I'll put a picture here of this painting, and I really enjoyed it. So when I saw this book, I was really tempted to get it because there are so many different types and drawings and colors. I thought this is a great source of inspiration, you know. And like I mentioned in my other videos, with my now obsession of painting using metallic watercolors, this is also a great idea, you know, to have different types of butterflies with some metallic effects. So yeah, this is a great book. I'm really glad I got it. By the way, I will leave a link in the description below to as many of these as I can find on Amazon. Some of them I got it from Amazon, some of them I got it in bookstores here. So I'll do my best to link as many as I can if you're interested in check them out. Sorry, I took a pause to take a sip of water, and I also took the chance to change a bit the camera angle since I have some bigger books over here, so it will be easier for you to see. And now I am coming to a mix of artists slash reference books. Like I said, I love drawing birds and painting birds. And this artist has the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful birds that I've ever seen. I love his style. It's Sewell. He has many different books about birds. I took this one, Our Songbirds. So it has one songbird for every week of the year. And the illustrations are just so pretty. Look, even the end pages. So I'm gonna show you here. Here it has, oops. Sorry, it's very sunny in my window now, so you have some glare. But I hope you can see it well. So here he has all of the birds that are in the book, so you can tick if you see them. Look how nice they are. They're all painted with watercolor, and I love this simple style. It's very simple, but yet very nice. I just love the way he uses the texture and colors. I confess that when I first saw this artist's work, I could not decide which book to buy. I wanted all of them because all of his birds are so precious. They're so nice. I love this simple style, you know. So yeah, here are the birds. So each page has a bird and has the explanation on the name of the bird and habits and all of that. Yeah, you had the full illustration. They're just so cute. I just saw this bird today, the robin. They are very tiny and they just move around jumping. They're very cute. So yeah, it's a really lovely book, and if you get a chance to browse, he has at least 3 or 4 books that I've seen, maybe more. And I love to look through his illustrations because I really like this more graphic, simplistic style. So this is a favorite of mine. Another book that it's a favorite of mine and is also about birds, it's this one here. It's by Geninne Zlatkis. I follow her on Facebook and on Instagram, and I absolutely adore her work. She has a lot of different work, from watercolor to ink to ceramics to painting on fabric to painting on leather. You think of it, she has done it. She's just amazing. She's an American artist. I think she lives in New Mexico, and she's very influenced by some of the colors and things around the area. She uses a lot of turquoises and browns and her work is just mesmerizing. I absolutely love her work. She has this very vibrant approach. Look, these are ceramics. This is leather painting. Let me show you some more. And she paints a lot of birds. I love the birds she paints. And here she has some ephemera together with the paintings. You see some textures. And I love this type of thing in watercolor, you know, using these little textures and patterns and things. I don't know, I took this course from Ana Victoria Calderon on a Skillshare, watercolor textures, and since then I became obsessed with it. I love it. So every time I get a chance to use patterns and texture in my paintings, I will, because it's just, I find it so fun, you know, to add this type of touch. And yeah, she uses a lot of this in her work. Here there are some inspiration photos. I believe these are papers that in theory you could use if you want for like collage or something, but I mean, I could never bring myself to destroy this book. Look at her birds she painted on ephemera. They are just so pretty. It's similar a bit to the work of Natasha Newton in some aspects. Like I said, she used a lot of this very fine detailing and marks, and I really love that. Collage, you see here, she has ink using the Daleroni acrylic ink. Here, let's see, she has also some drawings. Drawing with ink. Even painting on paint samples, you know, like the ones you get into the hardware store. There are just so many ideas in this. Look at this. I love the colors. It's so bright, and she's definitely one of my favorite artists. I cannot stop looking at her work. Like everything she shares, and I love it. I'm yet to find something she painted that I don't like it. Look at these colors and these patterns. Isn't this pretty? Yeah, lot of birds. See, lots of birds with these very, very tiny marks. And here she explains a bit about the process. So it's a very nice book to have for inspiration if you, like me, like this style of painting with lots of markings and textures and color. Yeah, so here she has some more process for her paintings. Some photos. Yeah, so all in all, this is one of my favorite books. There's a photo of her when she was a kid. Yeah, this is really precious. One of my favorites. Now I'm going into artist books or picture books that are not, like I said, not necessarily geared towards techniques or art, but I find them inspiring nevertheless. This one I got in Italy in a bookstore. I found it was just so nice, the way that she used the illustrations and the watercolor to fill in the pages. It's called Vorrei dirti. That translates that I would like to tell you. And here are the author and the illustrator. Let me see here if I find the information who illustrated the book. Yeah, it's Lucia Scuderi. And what I find very nice about this book is it has very few words and a lot of watercolor illustrations, and I like the way it's so loose and graphic at the same time. You know, it's an accordion book. You can see here it's folded, so you just keep going and look at these illustrations. They're so nice. I like the message. I can understand Italian. I speak a bit of Italian as well, so I like the story. It's a very emotional type of book. It's kind of a bit like a poem in a sense, and it has these beautiful illustrations here. I found it very very nice and very inspiring as well, because I'm someone that I tend to use too much control sometimes when I paint, and I find that sometimes it's nice to just try a looser approach, you know, let it a bit flow. So yeah, and you have here on the other side you have also the continuation of the illustrations. Look at this, very nice, using marks. Very bold illustration, bold colors. I like a lot browsing, and sometimes I buy some of picture books. One of my aspirations is one day maybe illustrate one picture book, and so I like going to this section in the bookstores, and when I find something that inspires me, I buy it to keep it for inspiration and ideas. So this is a nice one. I'm not sure if it's available on Amazon. I'll check and I'll leave a link below. Possibly it's possible that maybe it's not on all the Amazons, but I'll check also on Amazon Italy. I'll leave a link below just in case. Another book, this is an artist book I got a while ago, The Art of Koyamori. It's called Grow, and I thought it was a really nice book that has some illustrations that I found it very inspiring, with techniques that I usually don't use, but yeah, it's a Japanese artist. Let's see if I find her name here, her full name. Here I just written yeah, just say The Art of Koyamori. Yeah, so here she talks about herself a little bit. I'm gonna just show you some of the artworks here. She paints a lot of characters. I really like her use of color. Again, patterns. Love this type of thing. You can see there's a constant on my inspiration books. That's color and pattern. I just love it, you know. And even though I don't paint as many characters as her, I found some of the images very nice for inspiration. Like this cat sweater here. She likes to paint some kind of a ghosts as well, or creatures. I really love this. I want to try this technique, is actually painting with watercolors, I suppose, or ink, a very colorful background, and then covering it up with a darker ink to define the shapes. So you see, I even marked this page here. For sure I marked for this illustration. This is a little bookmark I painted. So yeah, there's a lot of different illustrations, food as well, scenes, lovely colors. I love this, all these patterns, very magical, no, whimsical. So yeah, this is a very nice artist book. I didn't know her work before, but when I saw this book, like I said, I got impressed by some of the images and techniques, and I decided to get it for inspiration. Probably many of you already know her work. She's probably very popular. This Japanese style of paint, of drawing, it's very popular. Really nice. This one you can find it on Amazon, that's where I got it. Another book, this is a picture book. I keep it in my bookshelf. So, sorry, let me just move these horses here. So this is a book from an author that I really love it, Shaun Tan. I believe he is from Australia, but he has kind of a Chinese background or something like that. And he writes these beautiful books that are full of illustrations. Some of them have words, some of them don't. But it's funny because I find that even though you can find his books in the picture book section, a lot of them are very deep and philosophical even. So some of them I find that they are really even a bit too adult for a child. He has a book, for example, that is called Cicada, that I really love, that talk about, you know, the relationship of human and the workplace and all of that, and this angst. And I mean, I find this book in the picture book session, but I don't think that a kid would totally grasp its meaning, you know. So it's particular that way, and that's something that really interests me, this kind of universe of picture books that are more like geared towards adults and adult themes. So I really love Shaun Tan, and something that I like about this book in particular that made me buy it is that he has these illustrations that, let me find an example, like that have this really contrast in scale, you know. So you see here, there's this very tiny shell here and all of this space above, and I love that. I find that it's, you know, it's really effective in communicating ideas, you know. It's something that I don't do naturally, let's say, but when I saw it, I wanted to try it, and I loved how he uses textures as well in his work. I think he uses a mix of digital and traditional media. I'm trying to find here one of the illustrations that made me buy this book. Look at the colors. It's very, how can I say, dynamic, you know. It's a different type of colors and techniques, and, you know, hand written words, and I love that. It's like you never know what to expect, and each page is different, and I love the style of the illustrations. Yeah, so this, I think this was the page that I said, okay, I need to try this, because if you see here, look at the scale of it, you know. You have this huge field only with textures, and, you know, there's a few birds here and there, but if you think that maybe four fifths or of the page are just these fields with textures and stains and markings and all of that, and then you have the characters here at the top, and I find this genius. It makes it's like it's unbalanced, and it makes you kind of, you know, look for things. It's not given, you know. It's a bit challenging, I would say, and very dynamic. I love this. So yeah, that's a very beautiful book. I have another book from Shaun Tan, and I love all of them. They're all very nice, and the subjects are also very deep, very philosophical, I would say. So I think it's a good one. Another author that I absolutely love, and this is an author of picture books. He's Irish, and he's Oliver Jeffers. He's also very, very popular. Many of you probably know him already. He also writes these beautiful, beautiful picture books with many different subjects, and a lot of them are very heartfelt and has beautiful messages, you know. And I love the way he illustrates as well. He uses a mix of digital and traditional media, and he has this sorry, let me open here. He has this kind of a childish style. Here he is. I believe he lives in the US, and he's very present in the social media as well. And he has this beautiful kind of naive style of illustration. He uses a lot of textures. See here, like brush marks and things like that. And I just love the style of his illustrations. They are so simple, but they are yet so effective, you know. And something that I learned from him, I started trying more, is using negative space to how can I say, as an advantage in the illustration, you know. He uses a lot of negative space like this, and I find his work is just brilliant. The message is nice, the illustrations are nice, and he has many, many books. I even gifted one of his books to a friend of mine that has a little girl, because I find them so pretty. So you see, there's a lot of hand drawn here. You can see the marks of pencil. Here there's a bit of like splashes of watercolor, I assume. And you see here again this use of negative space, using the white of the paper as part of the illustration, you know. It's very, very nice. So yeah, that's a lovely author. I really recommend his books for kids and adults alike. And the last one, this, I think, from all these books, this is the one that I got first. It's by an author that I didn't know before. I just went to a bookstore here in Ireland, and I was looking through the picture books, and I fell in love with this book. It's just so amazing. The illustrations and the story behind it. I mean, that's something that if I was able to create something, I don't know, not even half as good as this, I would be happy, you know. It's so creative. It's by Norman Messenger. He has other books as well, but this in particular, The Land of Never Believe, it caught me because he created a whole it's not even a story, it's a whole universe of things, and the illustration. He created and illustrated it, and he uses watercolors and colored pencils, and it's in all the details. You see here, there's even the seeds of the plants, the feather of one of the parrot. You'll see later, I'll show you the leaf of the tree. It's everything is created in detail. You know, here you have the map with the explanation of each area, the names and all of that. It's just a whole mythology, you know. And look at these illustrations. Aren't they beautiful? I just love the texture and the way he draws it. It looks like you are reading for a book about a real ancient civilization, you know. You see here, he talks about the area, and then the architecture they use, and what do they use, and what's the type of brick, even the type of brick here, you see? They're so beautiful, and they have a lot of pages that are like this, folded, you see? Here you have the people that live there, the traditional clothing, the trees. These illustrations are just so magical. I could not stop looking at it as when I saw it the first time. The leaf I showed you earlier, look at this. Leaves from the tree will fall the moment they touch a neighboring tree or obstacle. Isn't this magical? I'm not a kid, and I got enchanted with this book, so I can only imagine a kid reading that. All these animals, and look at this. The illustrations are, look at this. It's a pasta tree. Look how much detail he puts into these illustrations. The chocolate tree. And then he has the animals that also live in the tree. Here they have the cabbage moths that live in the cabbage moth tree. And you have another tree here. And here you have the cabbage moths. I love the imagination of it. Here I have the parrot that I mentioned before. The multi-winged parrot. So the whole book is like this. The whole book is about animals and plants from this imaginary land, and all their details. It's like an encyclopedia for an imaginary world, really. Isn't this amazing? Let me know in the comments if you knew already this book or the work of Norman Messenger. Maybe he's just new to me. I think he's a British illustrator. I'm not sure. But I find his work really, really inspiring. The illustrations, the text, everything. It's just so creative, you know. So I'm sharing you here a lot of pages because I find that there's something in each of them. Here you can see there's these animals. You see? He has a book. I don't remember the name now. I don't recall it. Maybe I'll check and then I can put here. That is just animals like this with folded pages that you open and they change like this. It's really nice. But many of his books can be a bit hard to find. I think some of them are out of print. This one I remember I had to go through a few Amazons until I found it. Yeah, so it's a really, really nice book. And that is it. This was the last book I had to share with you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful for you and you liked many of these books. And if you have also other suggestions of books I could check or that you find interesting, please write here in the comments. I'll be happy to check. I'm always interested in getting new books to get inspired from. And that's it. I hope you're all good and I'll see you soon. Bye.